Hey everyone, it's Patty from PS Paper Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make this fun card, Merry Christmas card. And I'm using the Perfectly Plaid stamp set and coordinating punch to stamp the trees and for my sentiment. And then I'm using a different designer series paper, and I'll show you that in a second. But I'm using Coastal Cabana and Real Red, and I think Coastal Cabana is going to be a big color for me for Christmas. Not something I would normally have thought of, but this designer series paper that I'm going to show you has a lot of this in it. So let me get it. This is called the Let It Snow paper, and I'm hoping you can see it. So you get 2 sheets of each, and it's double-sided, so I showed you both sides. But isn't it pretty? Hope you can see it all. And some of it, like for instance, this paper has all these sparkles right on the snowman. It's really cute. So that's the other side of this. And there's a few pages like that. The brims of these hats have it. And then there's these little guys. So some of the pages, it's called Specialty Designer Series paper because some of it has some special glitter on it. So anyway, this is the one we're using, and let me just show you. I'll bring in my pieces. So when I saw this side, I thought Christmas trees. I don't know why. Snowy day, and the other side are these cute little snowmen. And I think it's great with the Real Red. So I have all my pieces cut. I did the stitched rectangles using the rectangle stitched framelits. And I use this smallest one for my sentiment, and then the 4th smallest one for this piece. So let me get started. Now this is photopolymer, so I'm going to use my piercing pad. You could use a magazine or the catalog or whatever. It just helps you to stamp your image to stamp better, because the photopolymer is hard. When you have a red rubber stamp, the rubber is gushy, and the photopolymer is just hard, so it doesn't really stamp as clear without something to give it a little bit of give in the background, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp off first. So let me get a piece of scrap here. I was using this earlier, so you'll see some other Christmas trees here. I was playing around with it. Let me get this stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on scrap paper and then stamp on the cardstock, and that just gives you a lighter look. I thought this was a little dark straight on, so I'll stamp it here, and then I'm going to stamp one here. See the difference? And I didn't want this to be the main focal. I wanted the popped up piece to be kind of the main focal. So I'm going to just go in between them, and let me do this one. So I just want there to be kind of like a background forest look or tree farm look. I don't know. I think that's all I need my scrap for. And let's get the sentiment done, and that is in Real Red. And I have that mounted as well right here. And I think this needs to be re-inked, my Real Red, so I'm going to go all the way around the corners. So let's get that lined up, and it just fits. Okay, and then on the inside I did a sentiment in red and then the tree. So while we're stamping, let's get that done. I like to get all my stamping done at once if I think of it. Don't always think of it. So let's get the May this season be wrapped in joy and love, or love and joy. I always say that backwards for some reason. Okay, and I'm going to put that up a little bit toward the top so I can write the 2 and then write a little bit of note down there. And then I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana again and do this little tree on the bottom. Okay, so we'll just put this aside. Now I want to work on this tree. So I'm going to heat emboss that. Let me just close up my ink pad so we don't get embossing powder all over the place. And let me get my Coastal Cabana paper and my embossing buddy. So I just wipe this over before I do embossing. Oh, and look at that, I got ink on my... I'm going to do this real quick again. Good thing there's two sides. I didn't even see where I got where the ink came from. All right, bear with me. We'll just do this real quick. That's the Merry Christmas. This is the one I want. Stamp that down. Hopefully won't get any more ink on it. And then get the Coastal Cabana for the tree. I don't even know when I got that on there. I must have it on my fingers. Okay, let's put that aside, right up there. All right, now we'll go back to the embossing. So you just get your embossing buddy and you just kind of wipe it, and it keeps the embossing powder from going in places that you don't put your Versamark on. So I need to clean this stamp because I just stamped it with ink. So I'm going to get my chamois and just clean it here. Okay, and then we'll do our Versamark. And I like to stamp this before I punch it out because I want to see what I'm punching out. So I'm going to stamp it on my Coastal Cabana. You can see it, and this is a really nice way to get a watermark. Like, I think that's really pretty just on its own. But I did want the white to go along with the snow and the other white on the card. So I'm going to get my embossing powder, and this is a white embossing powder. I'm going to get rid of this guy. I don't want to get my embossing powder all over it. And I just have a spoon in here. I feel like I'm all thumbs today. And I'll just go over it. And you'll see it just covers it nicely. Okay, and I just like to give it a little flick. Now if you did have embossing powder on areas that you didn't want it, you could always take a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, and just brush it off. It's very easy to come off, and then it won't stick there. So I'm going to turn this off, turn off the sound or speed it up or something so you don't have to listen to me do this. This is like magic. It's always amazes me when I do heat embossing, how it just changes. So the way you know it's done is if you look at it and it's shiny all over. If you still see powder, that means that it didn't melt. So it's just melting the powder in, and I see a tiny spot there. Let me just hit that. Okay, that should be good. All right. So now I'm going to take my punch, I'm going to unlock it and open it up, and I like to punch from the back so you can see exactly where you want to put your image. And you can kind of close it down and then get it lined up and punch it out. So there, that's that piece. Okay, and then we really just have to put our card together. So let's get our, we'll get the liquid glue, and we'll get this on top of the base, the card base. And I just put a little bit of liquid glue on and push it down. Get it all lined up so that it's all even all around. Okay, and then we'll do the same here. I hate to say goodbye to these snowmen, but I'll use them for another card. It's nice that you get two sheets of everything, so you can use one side and then you can use the other side. So the same thing, you want to just kind of get this centered. And then I'm going to put this down flat. if I could pick it up, and figure out where I want to put my sentiment. And then we'll put this down with glue, and I'm going to pop up the tree, and I'm going to pop up the sentiment. Okay, it's a little forest. I think the tree, the color, the Coastal Cabana, is just a little bright and cheery. Let's put the inside in, and then I'll put that glue away. There's my fingerprints all over it. Okay. There you have it. Let's put this on, and let me get my dimensionals. Now I'm going to use both the small dimensionals just for the top here, and then I'm going to use the regular dimensionals. I'll put one here. I'm not going to do the trunk. I could put a little tiny dimensional there. Actually, maybe I will. Let me get the little ones. I just think it's a little tight. Let's see if we can get it. When you're trying to fit a dimensional on, just make sure the points are up and down so the side is flat when you're doing something that tiny. Okay, get the backings off. It's a pretty easy card, and I think it's cute. Again, I think the colors are just, they make me happy. They're bright and cheery. So we'll put this right in the center of the tree farm. And then we'll put this up with dimensionals, and I'll just put 3 across. And then we'll put some of these glitter dots on the tree. And you could add some here and here too, but I just wanted to put them on the tree. Okay, so these are, excuse me, the Toil Tidings glitter dots. And let me get my tool, my Picket tool. And I'm just going to use the smallest ones, and I'll just put 3 on. One toward the top, one in the middle side, and then one on the bottom. They say 3s are a good number, so that's what I went with. So these are the cards. I think they're really cute and happy, and hope you enjoyed it. You take care. Bye.